Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. It wouldn't be the heavyweight division in 2021 without Dillian White calling someone out, calling someone a coward, and putting both of those things, the call out and the coward, in the same sentence. So he has called out Deontay Wilder, the former WBC champion, saying on social media, see here on screen, "I want to punish at Bronze Bomber. The coward is full of fear. Come see me, fraud clown." And you can see this is a little graphic sort of montage that White has put together of Deontay Wilder's words, basically saying that Dillian White is an easy star for me, derogatory type things. And this fight, it had been, I guess, long talked about, but never really close to happening. Dillian White made it very public that Deontay Wilder had sent him a message, and this is going back 2 or 3 years, when Deontay Wilder was still champion and White had become the #1 challenger in the WBC, that Wilder said, look, you're going to have to wait. I can make you wait, and I can make you wait for a couple of years. As it was, he did make him wait, but the fight never happened. Deontay Wilder eventually beaten by Tyson Fury, who he took as a voluntary back in 2018 and then in 2020, and that one was mandated. They actually mandated that over Dillian White, but it is what it is. All that sort of stuff, Dillian White's whole 1,000 days type thing is obviously in the rear view now. Deontay Wilder no longer the champion, but this doesn't mean that it's not an interesting fight. I would love to see Deontay Wilder and Dillian White fight, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I just think the politics of boxing, the different promotional stables that they are in, will preclude it from happening. And I know some people will just say, look, that stuff shouldn't matter, the best should fight the best, and I completely agree. I would love to see this fight. And actually, when you look at Dillian White, where does he go next? Because no one needs to see a third fight with him and Alexander Povetkin. Povetkin looked washed in that rematch, didn't look great in the first fight despite getting that win. I think we've been there, done that, and got the postcard. Even though Dillian White says he doesn't like to see people beating him, and I'm sure he would like to make it 2-1 against Povetkin, I don't think that's a viable event to have a third fight with Povetkin. I don't want to see it. I think we're done on that. Stick a fork in it. We're done on that one. And if you agree with me, let me know. But if you really want to see a third fight with Povetkin, you got to justify it to me, because I think after that second showing from Povetkin, yep, we're done on that one. But who else is there at the moment for Dillian White? One, that is available, but two, it's promotionally easy to make. And I don't mean guys like Derek Chisora or Joseph Parker, those sorts of rematches that could be there for him, because they will be there for him no matter what. And actually, as it is with the Chisora episodes, we've seen that twice. Dillian White conclusively ended the second fight with a knockout. So on that score as well, I don't need to see that one again. And Joseph Parker, Dillian White, I've always sort of said, when Dillian White starts to lose, they will look to make that fight again, because it's makeable, it's viable, and it's a competitive fight. But I just don't think Dillian White is interested and is looking in that direction right now. He wants, the top of the division. He stated he wants the likes of Deontay Wilder, per this call-out, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, but seemingly they are going to be fighting each other. So if that happens, who is there for Dillian White to fight in the next year or so? Bearing in mind, he did say he wanted to perhaps have an easier fight next before a bigger fight. So we're looking at that bigger fight. What is that? What does that look like? And I think Deontay Wilder, given he's with the PBC, also Andy Ruiz Jr., given he's also with the PBC, I just don't think those are fights that are makeable at this point. If anything, if Deontay Wilder doesn't end up fighting Tyson Fury again, I think there will end up being an Andy Ruiz Jr. pay-per-view at some point in the next year. I think that's a pay-per-view worthy fight that there'd be a lot of interest in, and it's the biggest in-house fight that can be made at PBC. And PBC loves to do in-house matchups. Bearing in mind guys like Gerald Washington, Charles Martin, Adam Kovnatsky, there's a few others, they have all been sort sort of recycled amongst each other, facing each other. I mean, there is another name out there that has been spoken of before by Dillian White, Luis Ortiz, but we sort of fall into that same sort of, well, he is with the PBC at the moment. Are they going to send him across the side, the other side of the street to make that fight? Arguably no. Despite all the posturing from all these heavyweights involved, the boxing politics of this whole thing, it does matter. You can't just sort of say, well, sign a contract, because there's just 1,001 things that come with that to get it over the line. And Luis Ortiz, he's just turned 42. I mean, I guess you could sort of say, is he sort of spent at the PBC in terms of name value? And, he is getting on now. Is he a guy that they would go, okay, well, we'll chance it, similar to Andy Ruiz Jr.? Because I know someone will probably say, well, hey, they let Andy Ruiz Jr. across the side of the street to fight Anthony Joshua. And to that, I would say, well, that was a free shot at heavyweight titles. And in this instance, there's no real titles on the line except this interim WBC title. And perhaps the WBC might even sort of insert itself, mandate White and Wilder as a final eliminator. Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC president, has made some noises about that. But nothing is easy and simple in the heavyweight division. So while this call-out is somewhat funny with some of what White is saying, and obviously I'm sure Deontay Wilder will respond in kind at some point, it's probably not going to happen. It's going to probably be one of these fights that would have been great to happen, but won't happen. Imagine the build-up. It would be absolutely epic with the trash talk. It would be out of this world, but I don't think it's going to happen. But it is a question. Who is Dillian Whyte going to face? And I don't mean just next in terms of this potential easier opponent, and he's sort of named Trevor Bryan, but when he has that sort of world-level next fight, what does that look like? Who is that going to be? It's a little hard to sort of, to pinpoint and to actually go, okay, well, this will be the guy, or a likely guy. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.